Oklahoma went to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama 23-21. Some people, me, thought it wouldn't happen. Some people, me, picked Bama to win, picked Bama to cover, picked Bama by double digits. Got to give the game 4 Chalai. Maybe 4.5 Chalai. Somewhere between 4 and 4.5 Chalai. We don't do the quarter point system around here. Really entertaining game. Now, there have been some rumors floating around the internet today that since I sat here, I had the audacity to pick Alabama to win the game and cover and win by double digits, that I may throw on the clown nose. I'm not throwing on the clown nose for you people. I'm not. I did that one time already this year. Now, what I can't stand, what makes it tough for me to sleep at night, is thinking that I have turned anyone against me in the fine state of Oklahoma. As my fellow Oklahomans know, I spend a lot of time in Oklahoma in the season and in the spring during storm chasing season. I love Oklahoma. It's not that I had taken some anti-Oklahoma stance. I thought the matchup was bad for them. I thought the matchup really favored Alabama. So it was nothing personal. You could have thrown potato sacks on them instead of uniforms. It had nothing to do with the logos. It had a lot to do with the matchup that I thought I saw. So you watch the game play out. I watched the game play out. And afterwards, like a disproportionate amount of DMs flooded my inbox. Haters, Jesse. A lot of them were bots, to be fair, but some people were real, authentic people, like legit humans breathing the same oxygen as you and I. And they said, how could you have liked Alabama to win this game by double digits? Well, I'll tell you how. I liked Bama to win the game by double digits because of the way the game played out. You know, like there are some padlock stats, and then there are bad lock stats. This is going to sound like excuse making. It's not. I'm about to give OU a metric ton of credit in a second. I'm not trying to describe to you why this should have happened or didn't happen. I'm trying to describe to you how I thought the game was going to go, how it actually did go, and therefore my reasoning for picking the side I did. There was a 406 to 212 yardage edge in this thing. It went the way of Alabama, 23-12 first down. It went the way of Bama, about a 4% post-game win expectancy for Oklahoma in this thing. That's almost as bad as the Bama-Vandy game last year. Bama had 6 drives longer than Oklahoma's longest drive. But those are bad luck stats. We call those bad luck stats on the show because if you had those in your hand Friday, you would have made a pick on the game. You may have even bet money on the game. You would have lost. You would have lost. Because as we said in the game preview, in fairness, what little credit we're going to get for this week, it was a tough week around here. In fairness, all of that is mitigated by turnover margin. There was reason to believe that Oklahoma, if anything, would have the turnover edge tilted against them, although we believe that stat is randomized, because we enter this game, and Bama's really good at home, and Bama's top 10 in turnover margin, and Oklahoma's 112th. But you want to know how randomized turnovers are? -3 anyway. The team that looked like it had all the edges there, -3 anyway. And that means they lose a football game. And Oklahoma wins. Now, here's why I stopped short. Here's why I said, it's randomized and a lot of it's luck and whatnot. I'm not using that word because this wasn't luck. There was nothing lucky. It is a little randomized on any given play, any given series, any given quarter, half, game. Yeah, it's a little bit of a randomized stat, turnovers. It's a little bit of a randomized stat. However, man, there was a lot of intent with the way Oklahoma played yesterday. So I don't know how many games you watch on an average Saturday. Most of you who are watching this show, you probably watch a ton of football. So we watch a lot of games. You watch guys play defense all the time. You watch teams play defense. Everyone wants to force turnovers. It's not like a defense ever takes the field thinking, we could do with or without getting the ball. Yeah, of course you want to force turnovers. But very few defenses play with the intent to force turnovers, the likes of which Oklahoma played at yesterday. I have never seen it so glaringly obvious that was the coaching point during the week for Oklahoma, or 2 weeks because they came out of a bye, more so than yesterday. Just unbelievable effort, and as many turnovers as they forced, it felt like there were like 15 other balls on the ground that they could have recovered or that came out right after the ball carrier's knee was down. Like they were after the football constantly. That is absolutely what a Brent Venables defense should be about. It wasn't just that, though. None of the game was an accident. Every Alabama drive, they had 11 of them, started inside their own 30-yard line. Just phenomenal special teams effort here. Oklahoma was plus 22 yards in net starting field position. Just, again, a masterful enough job. Not perfect, a masterful enough job all day. They were 3 for 3 on their field goals. Alabama's 0 for 1. And, I mean, it was like watching an episode of Jerry Springer watching Alabama's kicking unit out there. There's some bad blood. There's really, I think, a couch visit needed. Really a counseling session needed by you got a long snapper just going absolutely nut job on a long snapper, crazy stuff. Not Oklahoma's fault, or maybe it is, but it's something to take pride in. Oklahoma also had a 42-yard punt return. They recovered a muff punt. So that's what you have to do to win a game where John Mateer is going to be 15 of 23 for 138 yards. That's what you have to do. If I were to have told you Friday, if I told myself Friday that Mateer was going to come out of the bye week and he's going to throw for 138, he's going to run for 23, that's nothing special. You're never thinking to yourself, ooh, man, Oklahoma's going to victimize Alabama in several other categories. They're going to special teams them to death. They're going to turnover them to death. It just would not have occurred to me. And yet, it did happen. That's where the credit is due. So it's very obvious coming out of the bye that you're not going to get pre-injury John Mateer. This is really what you're going to get. It's no one's fault. It's what you're going to get. Now, you can choose to do one of two things there if you're Oklahoma. You can either choose to have that implode your season, or you could fight. And they chose to fight. It's huge credit to Brent Venables and his coaching staff. There's so many imperfections on the team right now, but they chose to fight, and they're sitting here at 8-2. I believe they control their playoff destiny. This game really opened up a lot of the chaos scenarios that we talked about last week, because Oklahoma's got Missouri and LSU left, both at home. If they win those, they're 10-2. Oklahoma's going to the playoff. I had Jesse look up earlier today, what's the playoff predictor that ESPN has, and I said, plug in those 2 wins. He said, with those 2 wins, I think it was 94% odds for Oklahoma to make the playoff. I don't even know what the other 6% is. They're in. Hey, wait just a second. I appreciate you guys watching. Most of you are subscribed. If you're not, please do so. It's free. It helps us keep the show free, and that's how we do college football year-round. All right, back to the video. To me, if they win those 2 games, I mean, we were throwing around scenarios as recently as last week where a 3-loss Oklahoma made it in. So certainly 10-2, Oklahoma's going to make it in. The other chaos is, look, I don't do tiebreakers very well. I don't even mess around with the tiebreaker scenarios, so I just count on someone to tell me. That stuff makes my head swim. I was under the impression that if Bama went down to Auburn and won the Iron Bowl in a couple of weeks, that they were still going to Atlanta, and that was a mathematical certainty. Apparently, that's not. Apparently, there's some round-robin tiebreaker scenarios that I don't want to even get involved in. Bottom line, Bama's now got to win out to make the playoff. They got Eastern Illinois this week. Not doing great this year from what I hear. And then they've got the Iron Bowl. And look, I follow Alabama pretty closely. One of the things that I could do without from that program is every time the Iron Bowl on the road gets closer, there's this malaise of fear and uncertainty that creeps in. I mean, a lot of people believe in dark magic around the Alabama fan base, and I'm sure a lot of folks are going to try and inform that coaching staff over the next couple of weeks. Oh, you don't even know what you're in for. Yeah, there's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that goes on there. I watched it happen under Saban time and time again. You talk yourself into playing way tighter on the road than you have any business playing, and then the Jordan-Hare Stadium stuff happens to you because you're kind of contributing to it happening to you. Like, go take care of business. And if you can't win down there, you don't belong in anyway. So I didn't really learn anything about Alabama yesterday. Anytime a game happens, anytime Alabama loses a game, we get huge viewership on the show, and anytime Alabama loses a game, the message boards go crazy, and talk radio will be insane in Birmingham tomorrow morning, and it's like, what did we learn about Alabama? I don't really think I learned anything. It kind of reinforced some beliefs I have. Like, were we ever under the impression that they weren't tightrope walking? I wasn't. At their best, like best case scenario, Bama's got to walk the tightrope. When you can't run the ball, it doesn't mean you can't win. When you can't run the ball, you just remove margin for error. You're living on the margins, really. Everything else has got to be really, really tight and buttoned up, and everything's got to work fairly seamlessly. You're not going to be perfect, but I mean, you can't have operational breakdowns. You can't have muffed punch. You just can't have that stuff. You can have the occasional missed field goal. It is Alabama football after all. You can afford to bake that in, but a lot of the other stuff, man, like the overall losing of the special teams battle, it just can't happen. Drop passes can't happen. Procedural issues can't happen. Pass pro breakdowns can't happen. That kind of stuff can't happen. Now, if they take care of business in all those areas, they can win without running the ball effectively. Truthfully, I thought they ran the ball better yesterday than I expected them to. That's grading on the Bama rushing curve, but are they? Here's the question. I guess if there's one thing I learned, it's not one thing I learned, it's a new question I add in. Are they fading at the worst possible time? You hope to be peaking at the best of times here. And they came out of the bye, they played LSU, and I thought for a 20-9 win, boy, there was so much meat left on the bone. Part of the ammunition that I had in my holster for trying to pick them to win and cover here was I thought a lot of the explosive plays that were barely missed through the air against LSU would be there. They're still not there. Still not there. So, I mean, in November now, we're well past thinking that someone is in the process of ultimately becoming. Like, yeah, you continue to hone. Georgia continues to get better. But to count on a fundamental facet of your team to show up in November, that normally doesn't happen. It normally doesn't happen. So as of last night, I kind of got to check out a little bit on just expecting that layer of the Alabama passing attack to show up. And that's what makes it difficult. Because if they know you can't run it on them, and they also know you can't stretch it on them, not much left you have to defend. Now, you're good enough at quarterback and you're good enough at wide receiver, you can still score somewhere between 20 and 27, but these point totals here are pretty consistent. 24, 30, 27, scored 37 on Tennessee. 7 of that was defense, so 30 offensive. You got 29, you got 20. That's kind of where they're floating right now. Scored 21 yesterday. And until further notice, that's what you can expect from them, which means they got to kill it on defense. And they did again yesterday. And it was a wasted effort, which is a shame because I thought that defense really came to play. So Oklahoma's in the thick of this thing now. They had to have this. Great credit for Brent Venables and his team. It's not; these two games are not layups that they got coming up. Far from them, actually. Missouri is still very much alive. They dusted themselves off and smoked Mississippi State last night. And then you got LSU coming to town. So those aren't layups, but the point is it's all in front of you. It's all in front of Bama, too. It's just, again, to circle back, because I know people are tuning in by the thousands live here. I'm not sitting here and second-guessing myself for picking a 5.5-point favorite to cover that lost by 2 points being minus 3 turnovers. That's just predictive stuff. That's just randomized stuff that happens. You can give a ton of credit to Oklahoma and still not feel all that terrible about how you picked the game. There were other games yesterday, there are games throughout the season where you pick it and you're just flat out on the wrong side. I picked this one and picked the wrong team to win. Don't feel terrible about the side I was on. So that's about the best I can do. The one, the second question as I move on here that I would have about the impact that's going to have on Bama is the last time they lost a game, it served them very well. That's kind of what you got to hope for. You basically got to hope that result yesterday, due to you playing a certain way, brings out the same thing in you that the Michigan loss brought out in Ohio State last year. Now, that's an extreme example to draw from. So if you want to look in your own bag, you need look back no further than the Florida State loss this year and the reaction that brought out. Because there's a lot of blame to go around. Look, Milroe was probably responsible more so than any single player for them losing the Oklahoma game last year. So if you're going to sit there and blame Jalen Milroe, you gotta shovel a pretty hefty part of the blame towards Ty Simpson. He did not play a good game yesterday. There is a ton on his shoulders. A ton of that offense is on his shoulders. You know that going in. You knew that when you woke up yesterday morning. And now, for everyone else's part, if I'm a wide receiver, if I'm Ryan Williams, and I know that's the case, and I'm sitting out here muffing a punt, and I got balls dropped here and there, it's never on one guy. I'm just saying, It's November. These are all your players. If you're Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, like you're not scared guys are going to leave for the portal. These are your guys. It's November. Tough love on Sunday and Monday, and then get ready. And I'm not paying much attention this week. It's an FCS opponent. But you got 12 days until your last conference game, and your playoff hopes are on the line down in Auburn. Some would say, as it should be.